The question that we are going to try to answer is if you are training for a very long time and you have been not feeling evolution lately, recently, and why is that? First thing is this: we need to acknowledge, to recognize that if you have been training for a very long time, this is huge. This is something very important. You know, as far as I'm concerned, to have a very good health and a very good life, because to have a very good life, if you have a very good health, you are going to live much better, a much better life. But what I'm trying to say is this: basically, you have three pillars. Which are these? First of all, you need to sleep well, training, and eating habits. You know, just these three things, alongside with maybe your emotional health, are the most important things for you to take care of your health and your life. So, if you have been training for many years, that's something huge. That's something that we need to say here. You know something, my parents, both my father and my mother, hey, they walk as as long as I'm able to understand them, to understand things. I have seen them walking every day. In certain occasions, they were doing other kind of workout, going to the gym and other things. But walking was something that they always did. And now they are. My father are 95 years old, my mother are 84 years old, and they are in a very good health condition. And what they did, they didn't did anything different, anything sophisticated or anything like that. What they really did was walk, at certain moments go to the gym, but every day walking and taking care of their eating habits. You know something, they always eat very little, not never uh, large amounts of food. And as far as I know, they have always been sleeping very well, especially my father, who is 95 years old now. So we need to understand that if you have been training for a long time, this is something very important. And and I have to say you congrats for that, because this is really something. Because what we have in our society is not that. The reality of almost everybody is not like that. It's difficult to find people who exercise regularly. You know, something that I'm trying to do with this channel here is this: is to acknowledge, is to recognize the reality. Because in many moments, even with all the information that we have on the internet, people do not acknowledge the reality. Look at what you see on the trainings of the platforms. All kind of crazy trainings, very performatic, a lot of things. But if you look at it, um, if you analyze that, you will understand that most of that people, they are performing at that moment. but you don't know the rest of their history. You don't know how old they are. For example, my case, now I am 47 years old. I still train every day, very good, everything's okay. But I'm not training anymore the way like I trained when I was 25, especially martial arts. All those kinds of crazy trainings, you know? So we need to look to the reality. And the reality is this: most of people do not train regularly. Another part of the reality that we need to recognize that is very important is that if you train, you are going to evolve physically. You know, you may turn it into something for yourself in a moment when you are alone with yourself, just with your thoughts, thinking about your life. You know something, for example, this moment when I am training right there. In this day, when I was at the gym, I was filming to use as a B-roll here in the channel. But I go to this gym, in a lot of days at the weekends when there is nobody there, same way that it is now. For example, with the gates closed, and I train there alone because I feel good doing that. Because it's a moment. I turn it in a moment for myself, especially after my divorce. I've divorced in 2020, and so approximately 6 years now, and I stay with my daughters. I have two daughters. I stay with them every day. I I stay with them more than half of the time. Um, we split the time. Their daughter, their mother, and I, and things work well. But I have more free time now than when I was married, and because of that, sometimes I have free time in moments when normally I wouldn't, the way that I used to have when I was married. So now, what do I do? I go to the gym. So you can transform that into a moment for yourself. That's what I mean when I say recognizing the reality. For example, think about my case. If I am in a better physical condition, I'll be more present for my girls. And that's what I want to do. So, this is a reality. Simple as that. We need to think about that in the right way because you may say, "Oh, Fred, but people on the platforms, they are showing their reality. What they are showing is a reality too." Yes, it is, but it's just part of the reality. You do not know the entire picture. For example, like I said, if someone who is 25 years old, who has been training for more than a decade, is filming his training to post on the platforms, probably is going to be a very performatic training. You know, this situation about recognizing the reality is one of the things that make me feel my trainings right now because I'm filming them, but I know that I'm not in the same physical condition that I used to be. For example, I've been training martial arts since I was 8 years old. So I remember when I was 25, when I was 18 years old, the condition, the physical condition that I was in that time, and was a much better condition because I was young. So what's the problem to film the condition that I am now? That is not as good as it used to be, as it used to be. There is no problem with that. I'm just filming the reality. And the reality, I believe that it's a good thing and I can show it here. So it doesn't matter if you are training for decades or if you are starting now. There are always room for improvement. I'm saying that because I believe that in a lot of cases, crazy training on the internet, they do the exact opposite to stimulate people to train. In many occasions, they stimulate people to train. They push people. It's good. I'm not generalizing here, but in other situations, they may um, make you feel bad because you are not in that condition. But you know something? People that are training there, they are as human as you are. You are as human as them. So maybe you are not going to be able to do the same thing that they are doing. But there is no problem with that. You are going to be able to evolve from the point that you are right now. Like I said, for example, I'm 47. I'm doing what I can now. I can't do anymore the number of kicks per training that I used to do. Those crazy trainings from the past where you were training for hours doing more than 1,000 kicks in a single session. But there is no problem. I'm doing something. I'm showing here to you. And maybe someone may be inspired for my training and may think that, oh, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start martial arts. I'm going to do something. I'm going to start to run. Anything. So, if you are training, I want to recognize that because life is hard. And most of people, they have a lot of responsibilities to work, pay the bills, take care of the family, a lot of responsibilities. So to find time to train is not easy. But if you are feeling that you are not improving right now, there is no problem because time is passing. Time is against us. Nature, nature is against us. What is the nature? What I'm saying about recognize the reality alongside with the nature is this. As time is passing, the nature of the human condition is to be physically less capable. So, time is passing. We need to recognize that. And if you are training for a long time, you are fighting against it. And this is a very good thing. But if you are not, you can start now. There is no problem with that. You know something? I've been thinking a lot on why I'm doing this here, why I am doing this channel, filming the videos. At the beginning, I wasn't sure, but I know now that I want to help people to do something. That's why I'm because this thing, this situation of people showing themselves and sometimes making you think that you can't do what they are doing. This is not happening only now. This, I believe, that has happened for the entire human history. You know something? When I was young, when I was, I don't know, 8 years old, 9 years old, I was in the school and I was very shy. And I look for my colleagues, the other children, and I look for them. And I saw them speaking among themselves, you know, making friends. And I want to know how were they able to find the courage to do that? Because as I was very shy, I was struggling to talk with other people. And at the time, I thought they knew something that I don't. But as time passes, with time, I I start to understand better. I start to make friends, everything normally. And then, with time, I understood that they were just being natural. They didn't know anything better than me. They just, it was easier for them. Naturally easier. Just that. Nothing more than that. And for me, it was naturally more difficult. But with time, I managed to get over all of this and make friends and have a normal life. So I was just willing to share with you all these experiences. Thank you all for tuning in, and I see you in the next video, guys.